Everybody, we are back with Kickstarter Pause. That's right. We are so excited to be here with you guys today. It gives us something to do, honestly. It's not like we're going anywhere. So, of course, I am your host, Robert Gregory. And with me, I have the great Josh Lyman. Tell them who you are and how they can follow you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Josh Lyman. I've been doing comic books for the last couple of decades now. At least full-time, I've been doing comic book art and conventions for the last 10 years. You can find me at Art of Josh Lyman on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Instagram is pretty much where I post most of my art. Facebook, we've just started doing some live streams. And hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to try out Kickstarter Pause. This should be fun.
Now, one of the things I do want to ask you is, have you ever crowdfunded before? Is that something that you're familiar with?
I crowdfunded one time. I was basically starting to do comic book conventions, and I had come up with a project, and I had come up with 300 pieces of artwork. And I figured the best way to do that would be to crowdfund. And this was back when Kickstarter didn't cover shipping, and it didn't cover any of these other things. And I kept it as bare bones as I could. And at the same time, there were a lot of hurdles to, come across during that time.
And it has changed a lot. It keeps changing every
radically.
Now, do you think Kickstarter is going to radically change again because of the C-19 issue?
That's an excellent question. I think that Kickstarter itself has always been more of an introvert's lair in that capacity. It's going to actually support people who don't want to go to Comic-Con and don't want to browse. They can search much more comfortably from, their couch or their bed or whatever have you. And I think that in itself will, continue to be good. I do think that there will be several creators that are suddenly going to be like, oh, hey, look at this Kickstarter, C-19 Kickstarter kickoff, or something, and use it as a plug, of course. But we'll just see. We'll see what happens.
It would help if I wasn't muted.
Okay. I was like, all right, I can talk.
Do you think there's anything wrong with the people creating T-shirts right now that says, I survived C-19 spring break? Do you think that's because that's bound to make it to Kickstarter soon? Do you think it's wrong to cash in on what's going on?
I mean, bluntly putting it, we make T-shirts for both the winners and the losers for the Super Bowl as far as the United States are concerned. So when it comes to production, I mean, as long as the shirt's comfortable and itchy, whatever floats your boat. I think we all had that phase when we were kids where we wore all the sarcastic phrases on our shirts, like this identifies me as who I am, and 2 million other people who bought the same shirt.
That's not true. It was just my shirt, Josh.
I'm the only one with this one. Well, it's like, that's why you got to make your own. That's the trick.
Let me ask you one question. Are you a fan of Kickstarter as a consumer? Do you find yourself often actually getting books from Kickstarter or art projects?
Well, I've backed very seldomly as far as Kickstarter and indie whatever it's called. I'm totally stroking out right now. The other one that everybody else is using. Help me.
Indiegogo?
Indiegogo, thank you. I was like, it's IndieVolt, and I'm like, no, it's not. Between Indiegogo and Kickstarter, I get to see what the artists are doing, what they're working on, get to compare back and forth between the two different systems. There's some elements of Indiegogo that I do enjoy. I like the ability that you can continue to do add-ons and things after your project's been backed. But elsewise, just between the things, my most recent memories of purchases, I purchased a playing card deck that was a custom deck with some risque artwork, and I never received the deck. And then I received information saying it had arrived, and I never received that notification before it was delivered. So still haven't gotten it. And then the other one I received was Frank Cho's Ballpoint Beauties hardcover book, which it's interesting. After all these years, the number one thing I see as an issue for Kickstarter is always deadlines for delivery. Just because you just can't plan for that as well as you'd like.
And it's kind of funny. You hear this, well, they're just doing it on their own. They didn't understand how much work it is. And when people say that, I feel like they're damaging not only independent creators, but the platform itself. Do you think people should have? I mean, because when I go to work, I can't say life got in the way. Outside of C19, most things are expected to be done on a schedule and
Yeah.
an actual deadline. Do you think that some creators are given a bad name to Kickstarter?
That's an excellent question. I think that there are occasions where it can lead to that issue. There have been several reports of people who they run off with the money, or in this particular instance, they go, oh, well, hey, life, things cost more. I know for myself, when I had my Kickstarter, I pretty much lost most of the money as far as the Kickstarter was concerned after paying for everything. There was an incident and several of the originals got lost, and long story short, I had to ship out packages twice over, and it cost me twice as much as I anticipated. So I totally understand when people have issues like C19 or import export, between buying overseas or buying American or whatever have you, for the phrase. But as odd as it is, I always just pay attention. I look and see what the creator is, no matter who they are, what their previous packages are, what their previous projects were, and see what their accountability is before I back anything. That's the first thing I always do.
Smart. And we're going to introduce into the program today Paul. Paul is a unique guest to us. Paul is an owner of a comic book store. Paul, how much does Kickstarter affect you, and how are you being affected by C19, more importantly?
Kickstarter is odd, the way that it tends to impact some things. But C19 is definitely the bigger impact. Here in Pennsylvania, we've had to close down the physical location of the store. That also explains why I got like the work from home look going on. So we've had to rely strictly on our online sales here, which really disconnects us from our audience. We don't get the come in and talk to people type. We've always tried to market ourselves as being the friendly neighborhood comic book store, where you actually get to talk with people. You're not just customer number 337. We just talk with people and get a human interaction. Without the ability to do that, we've had to pivot a lot, significantly.
Now, what do you think about Diamond suddenly disappearing? Is that good or bad for you, considering your brick and mortar's closed?
Well, we have, I mean, when it comes to our customer bases, there is customers that are just interested in like older vintage comics, and it doesn't impact them nearly as much, or ones that are strictly interested in graphic novels, that does impact them some. The ones that are just interested in the new comics, the what's out this week, huge. It's huge for those. But it's something that's definitely, there's people out there trying to change the game. I read an article earlier today in regards to someone trying to change the situation up so that customers during this time of national closures, that they could buy product online, get a digital code, and then later, after physical locations are able to open up, trade in the code to get a physical copy. I'm not sure how that's going to really translate. I haven't learned any of the specifics on that or how it's going to work out. But from what I've learned in my short period time now in operating an online store, there is an instant gratification to shopping online, and for customers that are already the type that are buying digital versions of comics, what's the turnaround on those to then take that code, go into a store, and then trade it in for a physical copy? I'm not sure that that's going to be a high percentage.
Do you think they should also be offering a digital comic with that? Because I noticed that initially they're not offering a digital comic to go along with that.
I may have read through the article too fast, but the one that I read was, it was you get a digital comic, and then you get to turn around and turn it in for a physical copy. I don't know if that means that you wouldn't have the digital afterwards. I wouldn't see why they would take that away. But,
all right, but I mean, look, anything that helps us move forward, right? And it gets people to interact with your stores it's a good idea to try. It's certainly
and whatever keeps people interactive with the audience. It's an industry where we need a lot of interaction between the audience, between the customers, and everything.
I totally agree. And for the first time ever, we're going to have a comic book show. Comics book store owner, finally got it out, being part of the Kickstarter Pause. So we went over this behind the scenes. I'm going to just tell the audience what we're doing. What is Kickstarter Pause? Well, it's when a guest, in this case, Josh and Paul, sit down and watch all the crowdfunding videos we're advocating for, and they hit pause. Now, you guys can hit pause by saying, I tap out or stop. And then because there's two guests here, when either one of you stops it, that's it. It's over. And then we'll talk about what we see. And if the other guest wants to see more, we will play more for that other guest once the guest who first paused says that they can no longer sit through it. They're going to explain to us why they lost their interest. Maybe they saw an issue, or maybe it wasn't just for them. You guys cool with playing the game?
Let's do it.
All right. So first up today, we have, I want to give congratulations, by the way, because Freak Show Princess has officially funded. So has Steak. Congratulations to David Byrne for his Steak comic and Jonathan for his Freak Show Princess. And Geek Girl as well, I think, has just funded as well. So congratulations to both of them. This is the Muffin Man, and I don't know if this is live. I'll check it out while we're here because they had a couple hours, I think, left. They have a couple hours left, so let's check it out.
Hello, people. How are you? My name is Anthony Moore, and welcome to Limitless Comics official Kickstarters for Muffin Man, book number 1. Ooh, it's been a long time coming, people. This comic book has been almost 16 years in the making, a little bit more than that. And finally, I think this is the time. I have the right artist, the right team, and this is the right year, 2020, to bring this comic book to you. This is a comic book about a creature who's been living decades and decades and decades in the sewers of the historical North End in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, a little girl found her way down to the home of this mysterious creature and somehow not only befriended him, but coaches him to come topside and deal with the crime that is growing in this growing population with villains, demons, creatures, and things that go bump in the night. She believes that this creature is strong enough to deal with all of it and restore order back in their city. Ooh, I don't know. With villains such as Maggot, Millipede, the Ghost Orphanage, and the Spine Suckers, he's really going to have his...
All right, Josh, what about this suddenly lost your interest?
So I know there's a little bit of a sound issue as far as that's concerned, but it sounds like it's also coming from the video itself, as far as the transfer for that. For me, I think the biggest issue is that I know the editing software is expensive, and it's very clearly it's a free software that's being used. Just as far as like putting things up, I mean, honestly, you could have popped up Streamlabs for free and been doing that, but like right now we're looking at the video, and I can see the artwork, but every single time he pops his head up in there, I can't see the artwork. And that's what I'm supposed to be seeing. I'm supposed to be seeing the Muffin Man. I'm supposed to be seeing this girl. I'm supposed to see what's going on. And the fact that he's like, woo, I don't even know. Like, I get it. It's nervous when you're recording a video, especially if you recorded it 3 or 4 times. But at the same time, you're not focusing on your project. Like when you put yourself in the center of the project, suddenly you need to become the center of what's going on. And then if you're looking at it right now, this huge gap up at the top, you know, Paul, you're at the comic shop. You're showing off, you know, some of your product, and hey, this is just, it's a more comfortable look. It's the laptop. But when you're sitting there and trying to, I'm only using that as an example. Whereas for this, it's just the layout. The layout takes me away. Like I wanted to pause as soon as he popped up in the middle, and I couldn't see the artwork of the main character that was being focused on. I think I would just leave it as like a narration kind of deal, and maybe pop yourself into.
Sorry about that. My phone's attached to my phone. My phone is attached to the computer, so anytime someone calls, you get to hear the ringer. Paul, what do you think? Did you want to see more when he hit pause, or did you kind of get a feel for it and we're like...
I got a feel for it, but to be honest, I'm interested in this. I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from on the production quality of the video, telling us about the comic and everything, but everything that he's saying has me intrigued. The art looks really good. I'm a fan of the background detail, all the shading and everything.
Yeah, the art looks great.
When it comes to me trying to sell an indie comic to a customer walking in, the art is the first thing that tags them. And this looks really good. A lot of
when the video started,
is also familiar for a lot of our customers coming through. I think this is something that we'd be able to sell on the shelf.
See, it's interesting because plotline, it looks a little bit like Toxic Avenger to me, almost in that capacity.
I could hear Toxic. I could hear TMNT. I could hear a couple of other things that came out from some of the early indie comics of the early 90s and such. But either way, it's got a fresh enough feel to it that I could definitely sell at least the first 3 or 4 issues of this on the shelf.
Oh, well, that's really good to the insight for that. I appreciate that. But I am with Josh. Honestly, we've seen this a couple times and we said it. This is a newer video. I give him credit. He must have watched and changed it. But again, that top, like Josh is talking about, kills me. Seeing his ceiling, it's just a waste of space. He should have just shown his face one time and gone straight art and never came back on the video. And he's an energetic guy. Appreciate him for his energy. Nothing but love. But again, you're selling something. At that moment, you can't be the story. You have to let the story be the story. And speaking of letting the story be story, go ahead, Paul.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but really appropriate time to mention this. I've talked with a lot of different indie creators and tried to elicit from them how to pitch some of their comics to my customers coming in when I know that they're going to be asking about things. How can I get customers interested in this book? And sometimes I have a hard time with getting energy from them. I'm almost like, if you're not this interested, how am I going to get them that interested? And I'm really enjoying his enthusiasm level on this.
That's a whole energy. You're totally right about that. Like when you have an artist in the shop, you have to be like one level or the other. I've made the mistake on certain live streams at comic shops doing the same thing where I'm just like, oh, this is just me. This is whatever. Just being blunt and honest and talking. Whereas I have to approach it like a Comic-Con. It's a virtual situation. I have to be like, here, I'm framed. Like this day
Even
before
you're an artist,
I
you're
didn't
still
have
an
that up on the
entertainer.
wall or have this framed this way. It's little things.
Yeah, even if you're an artist, even if you're a writer, you're still an entertainer, and you're still there entertaining people, and you're trying to get them interested in your product.
Welcome to the big show.
Now, Paul.
Yeah, we could all use a little bit of that razzmatazz.
Now, Paul, do you have art books at your store, at your comic book store?
Off and on. We usually do seasonally with those.
Okay, cool. Because the art of Anthony Christophe is amazing. Check this out. And I think even Josh, you'll appreciate it. He's got some great art in this. So check it out. And he's got a great amount of energy. Hold on. There it goes.
Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Christou, artist and creator, and I'm here to welcome you to my new book, Surreal Worlds and Oddities, The Art of Anthony Christou. This is my second complete limited edition hardcover book of my best artwork from the last 10 years. My passion is fantasy art and surrealism, but I love other genres such as fairy tales, science fiction, and horror. This art book collects 10 years of my best paintings from prize-winning artwork, client projects, and personal art. I have 35 brand new paintings since 2017, and I also have 45 of my best paintings from the past 10 years. Only the best work has actually made the cut. Now this art book is an A4 and it's also landscape format, which makes it really unique. Most art books are in the portrait format. I've done this to highlight my landscape work, and most of my epic artworks are actually in the landscape format.
Pause.
Don't worry, I've still got my portrait works.
Sorry, it wasn't pausing on me. Okay, Paul paused, right? Did you pause, Josh?
No, Paul did.
Okay, what's up?
That was me. for me, I'm automatically detracted right now because of the shape of the book. I have to think about marketing the product. I have to think about putting it on the shelf. And with something that is as far dissimilar to a lot of the other things that are going to be in the similar place in the store, it's going to be sticking out, hard to keep on the shelf, right? People are going to constantly be bumping into it. There's going to be a lot of shelfware. You're going to be going through copies that are not going to end up selling because they get too much wear and tear from being bumped around because they're not fitting properly. For us and a lot of other places that have similar shelf design, it's not going to work out well.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where you're always going to run into the issue with like international. Like it sounds more like New Zealand than Australia, but it could be Australian as far as his accent is concerned. Excuse me. But like A4, it's a standard in Europe and international, whereas here, not so much. You're absolutely right. It's not going to fit. We don't have shelves that are designed for it, and it's kind of more of a niche market.
You can't always have these things front facing. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're quite all right. Yeah, the front face that takes away from another book product. You can't put it on its side instead. I used to have a notebook around here with all of the stuff listed for like A4 and A3, what the actual dimensions were in inches. And now I have no idea where it is. But I like the art. I love the fact that he has a hard copy that's physical that you can see and you can proof it. I think if we did a lot more of that with comic books,
side by side,
that could work out pretty well. I don't like that gap in there. But I think the only thing that was taking me away from this in this capacity was adjusting my own chair. Sorry, was the script reading, because it was trying to sound organic, but at the same time, it was very clear. Hey, I'm reading off a script, and then it didn't pace well. Like the very first sentence he had. I heard way too many sizzle words as far as promotion are concerned. It's exclusive, limited, specialized, lithographic, etc. Not making fun of anyone in Australia. This is just what I heard in my head when that was coming down. So it's interesting that when he does his fun paintings that he uses warmer colors versus cool. I think that's an interesting side topic. What on earth is that?
Oh, that's the thank you page. It's just
okay.
Yeah. This is just a prop page. So, this is
okay. That makes more sense. That's a proofing sheet. I was like, oh, dear God, what is that? Because I kept seeing the same words. I was like, what on earth? Great talent. But sometimes, it's one of those things. Like, I am a mediocre person. I am a jack of all trades in the sense of I know how to sell. I know how to promote. I know how to draw and I know how to create, but I can't do all of those perfectly. I still make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But yeah, I can see with Paul, like, hey, when it comes down to on the shelf, that would be an issue. But I do think it's a good idea. Maybe get a friend to help out with some of that graphic setup for the book. Just tweak a little bit, maybe add some filler in the background that you design through patterns or change the typography a little bit.
All right, this is Elysium, and this is brought to us by Jack Steep.
Oh, look, it's the gods.
I believe this one, it has a lot of music, if I'm not mistaken. Give me a second. Yeah, this is all music. So, what I'm going to
all music, we can just mute it.
Yeah.
If there's no description whatsoever, we can just mute that sucker.
And I swear it looks like Namor. That guy looks like Namor every time I see it. I'm like, the Submariner's in here? Submariner? Like, he's in here?
I don't know. Pause from me.
All right. And I just want to make sure he didn't add an audio track. Yeah, he didn't. It's just that. It's cut screens of a comic the whole time through.
And it's like, I understand owning it, but the music in itself would have turned me off. I would have been like, nope, we're out. If there's no descriptor. And then I understand, again, I'm begging every single person to stop using free video software to put together slideshows. There's a reason why nobody has cable and watches the History Channel anymore, unless it's already prepaid for months. You know, that's all the History Channel is it's a slideshow done in zoom in and zoom out and then randomly throw in a clip of a video and so on and so forth. But I don't know. It's confusing to me how most of the pages don't have color rendering, and yet where we're stopping right here, it has a soft shadowing to indicate that there's light coming up from behind him. I don't understand that. Like, that was the number one thing that was slightly bothering me, aside from the music and the setup. I was like, the colors are a little off. I'm confused about the blues. Might be compensating for a CMYK printer that prints really dark. Maybe it's just me.
What do you think, Paul?
I can see a lot of the similar issues. The music thing is a little bit of a turnoff. You know, if there's no audio going along with it, there's no sales pitch going along with it. The only thing that's selling it is what you have to see. The audio's, the music's just neither here nor there, unless it's some way packaged with the book. I mean, are they selling the book with a CD or an MP3 file that you're supposed to listen to with it?
Right.
Back in the day, I used to do something like that, and that was a factor for them. So if they're selling the music along with the book, hey, cool.
I think if they put some text on this, it could have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also couldn't help but notice I didn't see any dialogue balloons or anything like that going along with it, so it kind of felt a little unfinished.
Yeah, almost like they were. Yeah. I want to keep my mouth shut, but there's several of these poses look very familiar to me.
I mean, personally, I've seen with some indie books where there's an artist that comes up with concept for characters, and he just does a lot of drawing of them, and then just sort of figures, well, after I have about 70 images done, I'll just put a story together with that on top of it. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but I've seen that happen in the past.
Just giving a shout out to Horror Shop Book 2 for Science. We don't have a video, so we can't play it, so it's not on the show today, but we want you to know we're covering it
it's a possum
at indieadvocates.com. This is Kalis, brought to you by Silverline Productions, and let's see what you guys think of Kalis 1 and 2. I always think that is so loud.
Silverline.
And I am excited to announce the launch of issue 2 of my creator-owned comic book published by Silverline Comics called Kalis. And it's the follow-up to the wildly successful first issue that we launched last year. And the story is best described as kind of a sci-fi government conspiracy kind of story, kind of like the X-Files, except without all of that moving picture nonsense and all the monologue. We're going to star hero Scott Andrews, who last we saw.
I like X-Files.
Scott.
All right, so what do you guys think of this one? You hit the pause, so you started off, Josh.
I started it off pretty early, but I don't know. I was like, I like X-Files. You never want to talk trash about another project while you're on your thing. Like, there's a reason why when they're doing, cleaner products like paper towels or, anything like that, they go, this is brand X and this is us. They never list the other one. They always make like a fake logo or something like that. You never talk crap about what's going on with somebody else's thing and what your opinion is, because you're trying to get people to like. You don't want to alienate people off the bat. I liked what he was doing with his hands, like what he's doing now. I like, the cup thing. I think it would have been better if he had framed it and like walked into frame or something and then popped up the art. I like the art on the sides. I like the art on that. If he had like been able to figure out a way to like slice the frame and put the art on the side while he's talking about it, that way, because he's introduced himself early on. So he's setting himself up as the framework for this work. It's got a lot of great graphics work as far as video is concerned, but there wasn't really a lot of video in that of the actual art. If that was the entirety of the video, it's a minute and a half. It was basically a zoom in on like 2 pages.
Which is a shame, because it really has some great art. And I'm going to call this up while we get Paul's opinion. Paul, what do you think from what you saw in the video? Did one person talking win you over?
Well, I gotta say, first and foremost, I may be a little bit biased on this because I did order in and we carried a few issues of issue 1.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. So I may be a little biased. I thought that it was good. The customers really liked it. The only thing that they didn't care for was the fact that, once again, this was last year, and they're like, well, where's issue 2? So that was the big thing that I got back from the customers that we had.
And that's one of the cool things about having somebody with the comic shop. They're like, hey, we bought this, and you know what? Some people liked it, but they were like, where's more? Did you buy it from him directly, or did you go through his Kickstarter last time?
I believe we went through him directly.
Okay.
It was a little bit ago, and we placed a lot of orders, so I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we went.
I'm curious to see his artwork for issue 2. Sorry, not issue 2. Sorry I'd like to see his Kickstarter and the artwork that he used for that, if he did Kickstarter for the first issue. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like you lost it. It's great. I'm happy for you. Hey, he's got his issue 2 out. So, hey, Paul, you can go hit him up and be like, yo, let's do this. I don't want to do Kickstarter. We're just going to buy it direct.
Now, Paul, let me ask you a quick question. Do you like when creators give you a tier for you as a distributor? Get 5 books at a cost. Do you like those reward levels?
Oh, yeah, I love that. I've worked with a couple of other people like Mad Cave Studios and a few other companies that have been very helpful with those and very helpful with shipping. I notice whenever I get directly from some of the indie publishers, the packing is far better than Diamond's packing.
Yeah, here's a box. Enjoy.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, did some get damaged? Who would have guessed?
We never would have imagined. We have a custom comic box with nothing.
All right, guys. This is White Ash 1 through 5, an amazing Kickstarter, doing great stuff. I've never seen the video, so let's check it out. This is brand new to me, too.
Stop.
All right. So, Paul, what do you got?
What I got here is I feel like I'm being pitched one product while being sold another. I'm seeing the video. And it looks good. It looks like a motion comic, but I know that they're not trying to sell me a motion comic. So that's where I'm being detracted, is that this feels like a motion comic. It looks good as a motion comic, but I'm not getting to see what the comic looks like.
All right,
Actually looks like. Yeah.
Josh, do you want to see more?
If we can skip about a minute of this in.
All right, let's see. Oh wait,
Hey, look, it's a human.
Yeah, let's see what he has to say. There we go.
I'm curious.
Okay, I think I got it. I did everything right. There we go.
Hey, I'm Connor Hughes. Hi, I'm Finn Crum, and I do the colors.
And I'm Charlie Stickney. Together, we make the comic book series White Ash.
Interesting.
Welcome to White Ash Chapter 5. We launched White Ash a couple of years ago, right here on Kickstarter. And thanks to you, a loyal backers, word of White Ash spread. It led to us landing a distribution deal with Scout Comics, who has now put White Ash in comic book shops all across the country. If you're new to White Ash, welcome
Good
aboard.
writing.
We still have plenty of room in our little town. White Ash is a story of fantasy, horror, and forbidden
All right,
romance.
pause.
Think Romeo and Juliet?
All right. So I like it, but I feel like this could have been popped in earlier.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it really comes down to is the scroll pay attention thing. I think Paul was right. It's definitely motion graphics. Somebody on that team did storyboarding for a while. Like that's how they pay their bills, and they have the software that lets them animate that, which is great. More power to them. But somebody in that team has been doing storyboard animatics for some cartoon show or something. And it's possible they're trying to lead this into some sort of other product as well. But yeah, I think my only issue is they're like, here's White Ash 1 through 5. There's a little bit of pacing issue, but I like the fact they introduce all three people. He's got a good framework. He's showing off the art, showing off the other previous issues that have been backed. He's using some of his table display. Yeah. Oh man, it's the classic trope of the black frame. Yeah, somebody definitely has the editing software. This is where you can go the opposite direction and go overboard with production. Like I like it, but at the same time, it doesn't show you what the work looks like in its whole. Like, and this is a problem when you're working digitally as well. You're always going to have these kinds of problems where there's going to be difference. There's going to be a huge difference. I don't know.
What do you think, Paul? Is it intimidating to hear of a book when it's already into issue number 5? And when you're hearing that it's both being Kickstarted and distributed by a Scout Comics in this, so there's going to be 2 different versions of the book.
Yeah.
Is that hard to get on?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, on one side, Scout Comics is something that's really recognized right now, and that makes me go, ooh, well, if Scout Comics is involved, then, I should definitely take a good look at this. On the other hand, if Scout Comics is going to be having their own, limited versions or alternate covers or anything like that, then that means that I'm going to be having customers coming in asking me, oh, hey, I want this comic, but I only want that one cover. Do you have it? No, they're only selling that through their own website, so I can't help.
And that's fair. That's fair. Speaking of being fair, let's give a fair look at Burlap, issue 1 through 4. And let me turn on the music again, so I turned it off up here. All right, let's check out Burlap.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jesse James Bear, and I'm the writer and creator of Burlap. Welcome to the Kickstarter. I have recently teamed up with Covenant Comics to bring Burlap to your door, but we need your help. In order to make horror comic history, oh, God.
Where am I? What is this freak show?
Chuckle. Yeah, that's we're doing it. Now we're doing the Kickstarter video.
I mean, just a second ago, I was, slashing through this frat house. Now I'm looking at a Kevin Smith book.
That's.
Well, that's
So, anyways, I'm going to need you to skedaddle to go to Kickstarter.
Kickstarter?
Yeah, Kickstarter. It's crowdfunding. We're raising funds to generate the comic book, to publish.
Okay.
Merchandise, all kinds of stuff.
So you need some funds.
There's perks and there's rewards.
Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh.
Ow! Jesse! Jesse, help!
That helps.
Jesse!
Every contribution helps. Shane, you mind doing boom lights now? All right, now to get into the storyline of Burlap. Burlap tells the story of a homicidal group of maniacs ripping their way through New Jersey, led by their charismatic leader, Cottontail, something of a homicidal disorder. Along with Cottontail, we have Chuckles. We have Bones, who's more so the muscle leader.
That's one of them all.
Pause.
Bones,
Pause.
Yeah.
You didn't like the stand-up, Josh?
Oh, this is not. I liked the clown at first. I don't like clowns in general or mask, whatever. I'm So I'm sure we get further information with the comic, but why is it called Burlap? I don't see a single character on that team that has the Burlap map. So why is that the primary? And at this point, I have none of that information, and I don't want to, because this is just going to be a running gag to meet the personification of the characters. Kind of going back to what Paul was saying a minute ago, it feels like I'm being plugged on something else. And yet again, bringing in the pseudo insult. Oh, it's a Kevin Smith looking guy, referencing something people enjoy. I just finished off a couple of Kevin Smith things and realized that as I've grown older, there's certain things I like and certain things I don't. Holy Clip Studios Batman. Got some nice CGI'd backgrounds in there and some textures. To help finish off the book quicker, I get it. Totally get that. All right. I like the green screen's a nice touch. Hey, look, it's Burlap. So I'm guessing they're hunting down another person while wearing masks. This is one of those things like
if I'm not
Jack
mistaken,
the Ripper.
I think it's reversed. I think Burlap's the vigilante stopping the other characters.
So then why didn't we have Burlap come in?
Yeah.
Wait,
if it's supposed to be the primary.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is this Batman being told by the Rogues Gallery's point of view?
Sounds like it.
Sounds like it, yes. It very much sounds like that. And vigilante revenge. So it's like Batman if he didn't have his rules.
I'm too sober for this.
Yeah, no, honestly, for me, it's just like I like the weird sound. It sounded a little bit like Burlap being hit. So I was like, all right, interesting. But then the clown came out of nowhere. And I'm like, so is this Burlap?
Yeah.
It has
I was
multiple
also,
issues.
following that. Yeah, sorry. I was
No, you're
following that, and I was going, well, wait a minute, this clearly isn't even the main character. If they're introducing a character, shouldn't the first one be the main character?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe have all four of the guys pop up suddenly. Like, I get the jokes. You gotta make a joke. You gotta make a joke. By all means, do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but when you're asking for money, is it time to make jokes at the very beginning of your video? Remember, crowdfunding is asking people to pay more to get
look, there he is.
So finally he shows up. But I mean, if you can't get, like, you have to motivate my wallet to open at this point to help you make this. I didn't come for stand-up. No offense to him. It looks funny, but I've got Netflix. I've got Dave Chappelle. I want to know what you got from me. Like you said, the Kevin Smith thing. And then if you listen, he says, oh, the fat Kevin Smith. So we're making fat jokes? Like that's how you're selling your book? You just ostracize the whole group. That's not really a thing we do anymore as much. Making fun of people's weight, where whether it's right or wrong, you're, like you said, Josh had pointed out, you're ostracizing a group of people immediately.
I think that there's this is something that's been brought up in different podcasts and things like that. As far as production wise, there's a lot of people that like seeing the physical manifestation of their characters, and unfortunately that leads to other products, motion, animations, cartoons, comic books that get turned into Netflix shows or movies. They get the rights bought because everybody's like, look, we'll buy whatever we can at this point. Oh my God, you're Stephen King's son? I'm gonna leave that sit for a minute. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you don't need the extra bells and whistles. Plus, I don't know about you, but I think most people associate masks and regular outfits right now with the Purge. So that kind of like disinterests me automatically because the disruption of society can only go so far without maintaining some form of order. So for me, it would have been paused well before that if I had gotten any further information. If you're 30 seconds into a film of any kind and I don't know squat about your product, I'm out.
That's fair. Paul, any final closings before we go to Oswald?
No.
I think we hit just about everything that I was thinking about, whether I said it or Josh said it. So yeah.
I ramble.
All right. I think Josh nailed it, actually. I think that's really good insight. Thank you, Josh. This is Oswald Chronicle, My Time with Clive, 1 through 7. I'm going to just turn down the music a little bit.
Turn down for what?
Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and today I'm here to tell you about the continuing adventures of Oswald.
There it is. 30 seconds. Beautiful.
First, we have Planetary Dreaming, illustrated by Jade Gonzalez, with colors by David Montoya. Next up is Adventure Time Unbidden, illustrated by Luigi Terrell. Our third book is Rainbow Days, illustrated by Daphne Lane. These 3 stories, we will see Oswald and Clive fight ancient horrors, help a teddy bear find his destiny, and bring a young girl and her unicorn together. So please, find a pledge level that suits you, and if you're new to all of this, the first 4 issues are still available. Thank you all for your time and support, my friends. JD out.
Nice and short.
Now, does that help you guys sit through a video if you notice, okay, this is only a minute? I can give them a minute. Will you stay through the whole video knowing it's going to end soon?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd
argue about 3 minutes.
Interested enough from just looking at what's physically there I can sit there for a minute. Although I could definitely say after watching it, I am almost no more knowledgeable of what the topic is than before.
Yeah, there's like a sentence: teddy bear and friends trying to stop monsters, which it's effective. I just in this case, I feel like there's a lot of zoom in and zoom out, and I'm sitting there trying to study all the art and look at it and go, okay, that's one artist, that's one artist, that's one artist, that's one artist. And it may only be 3, but I'm just looking at it and it looks the way more. And I get it. We as artists always get better at what we do, but at the same time, it's like, give me a little bit more artwork, little more time to study it. Give me that 5-second window or 3-second window while you're discussing things. 3 seconds, I think, is a good time for a piece of art to make any kind of quick impression on you. Like 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. You can go, all right, cool, switch over. And you could still, in a 1-minute video, you can still put up an entire book if you really wanted to.
I'll never understand why people don't open with their pitches. A pitch is so profound. Why not go with a pitch right away? You know, like that's what we're trained to do. Elevator pitch. Get it out quick. Get them hooked, and they'll watch the rest of the video. I can't tell you how many times I want to turn off a video and read the actual Kickstarter because it'd be quicker than what they're slowly trying to force me to watch.
Well, it's like that X-Files one earlier. I don't even remember the name of it. You said you had issue 2. Paul, what was it called again?
Kalis.
Yeah.
Kalis. Okay. See, for me, my brain goes Kalis goes Star Trek. You know, it's the sword of Kalis. You know, so Klingons and things like that. So, but I was looking at the text when we were scrolling through, and the text looks nice and organized, and nice and written, and it's like, okay, so it feels like there's a disconnect between the writing and then the pitch video. Almost like it's like, okay, you got to go out and you got to go do this, and he's like, I don't really want to. Well, guess what? You got it. You know, it does better if your face is in the video. All right, let me get my coffee. Let me do the video. I don't like this stuff. You know how it is. Welcome. Have a seat. I'm going to stand. I prefer to stand. I digress. But yeah, sometimes it comes down to is like you may present it great. I love when Kickstarters do like their own little graphics for each reward tier because people can like right click and save that. And they can be like, all right, this is what I want. And they have that visual in their brain of what they get on top of what they're getting as a physical product. In written format, they get like a visual of what they're getting.
And speaking of getting things in your hand, you can get Ace and Scarlet in your hand. Again, we don't have a video, so there's not much to talk about on this show. But it's got some great art, some CB Zane covers. And CB Zane mentioned that today, April 15th, what used to be Tax Day, will now be Into the Suck Day, as Into the Suck goes to issue number 5. And we're going to move on.
That's funny.
We're going to move on into Autumn's River Part 1. Now, I kind of dig this video. This has become a quick favorite of mine. I'm really curious what you guys think about it. Let's check out Autumn's River Part 1.
Pause.
Actually, you made it to the end.
Oh wow!
Oh, thank God. I've been sitting there just going, any day now.
Yeah.
You did make it to the end technically. So why did you pause then?
Well, I just sort of hit a point where I'm counting down in my head. I'm going, okay, how long has it been? And we haven't heard word one about what this is about. Where's the
30
pitch?
seconds.
Where's the talk? Where's even text on the screen?
Right.
Yeah.
I could see
I
that.
was-
The
The
music.
music started pacing itself faster, and the art wasn't going along with the with the music flow as far as that's concerned. And I don't know. I just same as Paul. I was sitting there right around the 30-40 second mark, going, okay, and what is this about? And who's the main character?
Well, let me
I
ask you
feel
this
no
question.
more educated than before.
Would
Yeah.
that video prompt you to read the Kickstarter? Would
No.
that hook you? Paul?
I mean, it looked good. The artwork looked fine. But what I was seeing strictly alone, I'm going, okay, girl somewhat bloodied up, bandaged up with a sword. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, it felt a little bit like somebody who's obsessed with Naruto, but wanting to bring their own like Aspen Comics meets early Image feel to it, with like Saint Angel with Ron Lim and things like that. And Ray O'Donnell is the man. He didn't work on Saint Angel, someone else did, but they did like a flip book where they did like 10 pages that was one and 10 that was the other. You know, as far as storylines are concerned. I don't know. That's something where if you're introducing a character and they're supposed to be the protagonist, you gotta focus on that person. You gotta focus on who your core is for that, and not so much every single other character
Now,
that you introduced in your book.
speaking of things I haven't seen, have you guys ever seen a ninja bear? Like when I saw this, I realized I don't think I've ever seen a bear be a ninja.
I've seen it before, but I mean, there's no new ideas under the sun.
Bear, but let's see how they did on their
Yeah.
Ninja Bear.
Is this supposed to be for a comic?
Yeah, it's a comic.
Ninja
As
Bear,
long as they don't keep animating.
Bear, trained as a warrior on a journey to face the evil Black Mage and uncover what happens to his mentor. In his journey, he discovers one of
Pause.
his weaknesses, meets strange people, battles,
Pause.
Go ahead.
So I'm seeing some rather inconsistencies with some of the art styles.
Yeah.
Seeing, and that's detracting me. I'm thinking that's going to detract a lot of our customers too, if they're seeing too much inconsistency with art styles.
Yeah, it almost looks like started with one person and then they ducked out and they pulled in someone else.
Yeah, I see what you got. This was the first time for me watching it, and I definitely see what you're saying right away. I was curious about that. Was this an anthology, maybe?
It might be. I mean, it's 80 pages.
And he's got cell phone holders. So yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I like this. I like this concept of here's the video as well of all the products we offer along with it.
Mhm.
I like that, but in the first 30 seconds he starts talking about it. I don't think the animation was necessary.
Yeah, that way.
Or if it was, you could have put it down at the end of this, at the very end, and be like, and it comes to life. You know, with your funding, we can make this happen. Tie the ropes. I don't know. For me, I think the detractor was there weren't a lot of backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly will admit with a level of hypocrisy, with my playing card style art back here, I just did tea-stain texture backgrounds as far as those were concerned. But like when you're doing a comic book and you're trying to set is this feudal Japan? Is this not? You got to set up some sort of additional surroundings to make that work. You're like, oh, here's all these animals living in harmony as bipeds. That's true, but you still got to have a building. People got to sleep. I saw a lot of blank walls with no textures and no bricks and no rice thatchings or bamboo shoots or anything. And I mean, if I'm thinking a ninja, this needs to be a ninja, regardless of the actual origin of a ninja or a samurai. And ninjas being basically bullies for hire for mafiosos and things like that, as far as Japan is concerned. But research names.
All right. So let's check out Hybrids and see if he can win you over. You guys are on a streak of not loving these videos, so let's see if we can break that with Hybrids. This is a minute and 33 seconds.
Comics presents Hybrids, Sons of God. As you can tell by the super exciting music that I have chosen, there's something you should be paying attention to. That something is I finished another comic. You might have heard of it. It's 23andMe meets Greek mythology meets ancient conspiracy theories meets Taken meets rad superheroes meets you clicking back this project. Hybrids number 5 is the exciting conclusion to the first arc of this series. Production is nearly complete, and by mid-April, these files will be going off to the printer. We should expect this thing to ship no later than early May. Not to mention, we have tons of extras like this book here. This is an exclusive mini-comic that's only available through the crowdfunding. You like stickers? Well, we're going to have plenty of those too, just like this holofoil sticker that you see right here. We're offering so many extras like this Hybrids phone grip that you can also, we've got this exclusive.
All right, go for it.
I don't like people who trace other people's artwork. So instant loss for me. There's 3 or 4 pieces in there that are just referencing photos, which I actually have the photos in my reference, like this for this Zeus or whatever guy in the front here. The angel pose, that's another pose as far as that's concerned. You can look at photos for reference to draw, but you can't just draw exactly that. That Hawkeye, the Archer character, that's a Hawkeye drawing from Marvel. So it's like an instant loss for me on that alone. It's just, I can't. Like, I was like, okay, I like Greek mythology, I like stories, but when I've seen the artwork from somebody else, that I'm out. Like, that's the thing. And, you know, if I have to, I will go and find the files. But it's one of those things where it's like, I've seen this drawing and I've seen it drawn better as well. I can admire enthusiasm and I understand, hey, you know, superheroes are the modern day Greek mythology, but that's a huge issue for me. Like, if you're not giving credit, and this is if it's like that Archer, maybe it's an homage cover. I could be on that. That could be, it's, hey, this is drawn after so-and-so's cover. But they don't indicate that in the promo.
What do you think, Paul?
Well, I definitely feel that. Similarly, we had a card game that we carried in the store, and once I had found out that the person who was producing the card game had taken some of the artwork from DeviantArt and didn't give any credit to the people that were putting it up there, I immediately dropped them like a hot sack of rocks. On the other side, though, I appreciate the production level that he's putting into this video, but you know, once again, once you get tagged with something as negative as, oh, this is traced over someone else's art, it's hard to drop that. It's hard to get your eyes off of that target.
And that's fair. I can see that. So let's move on to our next problem. Let's move on to Starlight. I haven't seen this one either, so this is my first time with you guys. Starlight issue number 1, ex-child superheroes, now troubled teens.
You remember the Ultra Kids, that high-flying superpower duo of Mighty Boy and the Monster. Remember their kids' superhero adventures? Well, of course not. There was never any such thing. We just made that up. Remember the real kid superhero teams? You ever wonder what happened to them when they started to get older? What would happen to them when they got to, like, puberty, when they became teenagers? Did they become teen superheroes? Did they go on to become adult superheroes? Probably. Probably. Using us.
And what do you think, Paul?
I think I've honestly seen and felt this premise of children growing up into superheroes and growing with their superpowers so many times, so much. I mean, it's different ways, different stories, but no matter what, it's still, you're seeing children coming of age with superpowers, and it's, how many times can we do that one thing?
Yeah, what do you think, Josh? Did you want to see more, or are you feeling the same way?
And kind of the same way. I'm kind of curious why there's so many different art styles.
Yeah, well, let's see.
Seems like it's still in production in that case. Seems like they went and hired a couple of different artists to make it work.
Yeah, it does have jarring art. Like one moment it seems well put together, and the next minute it seems more sketch, honestly, to be.
Well, even that, like this is like it's a realism shot, and then there's like a bouncy cartoon shot with the the laundry and things like that. But I know one of the people on it. So that kind of makes sense because his style is not super bouncy cartoony.
It looks like a good group of people came together to do this, but like you said, I think there might be too many, maybe too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, it might be. It might be that. Starlight. Yeah. Okay, this is starting to make more sense. It's not just one thing. It's different stories told by different people. That makes a lot more sense. What was the name of that Greek thing again? I'm being nosy for a second.
Hybrids.
Hybrids. Thank you.
Do you want me to send you the link?
I can Google it. Hybrids. Kickstarter. Sons of Gods. Let's take a look at this.
We're going to move on quickly to, we're already over an hour. This is Modern Godhood. This is new to me, too. I haven't seen this before. This is a fantasy action. Did you have anything else to say, Paul, about that last Kickstarter? Or are you good? Because you paused.
No, I'm good, honestly. Like, when I threw it in, that was a big thing for me. So I honestly wasn't going to be looking any further once we hit that.
All right, so this is Modern Godhood. If you notice the modern, and have seen that before on the show, that was Modern Testament that we had. Frank is behind both projects. So this is Modern Godhood.
A Modern Testament?
He does somewhat. There you go.
I'm Frank Martin, writer and creator of Modern Testament. And I'm Braden Comics, the writer and creator of Reclaiming Godhood. Both of our series have a lot in common. They were both our first books and originally came out at the same time, the same publisher. But the similarities go deeper than that. Although they focus on different ancient mythologies, Modern Testament and Reclaiming Godhood are about bringing those mythologies into a modern society and seeing how those universal themes are still relevant today. Reclaiming Godhood focuses on the Roman god Jupiter as he seeks to answer prayers and protect humanity in the modern world. Modern Testament does the same with biblical mythology as it strives to reinvent ancient beings for a new age. Combining the two ideas was seamless, as Jupiter faces a trio of new and different threats in the form of beings such as Lilith, the Revelations, the Beast.
Pause. There we go. All right, go for it, Josh.
I'm just bored. I mean, that's not so much with that. It's just I'm looking at, and I just. So I have, not to personalize this, but I have for my own habit. There are some days where I can draw comic book art, no problem, and then there are days where I can't draw it worth a lick, and I'll just go ahead and switch over to drawing like a cutesy style or something like that for the next couple of days until I feel more inspired. And I'm looking at this, and it feels like there's one day where he feels like drawing epic, and then there's a day where he just needs to knock it out super fast, and he's just trying to get the page finished. And the Modern Testament thing, like that's like a testament would be like him telling the story, not it would be more of an Odyssey, but Odysseys are Greek, so they can't use the word Odyssey. And at the same time, I'm seeing Cerberus, and I'm seeing other characters that are like biblical influence, like Lilith, for example. So there's so much cross, like the Pegasus. I don't recall that being part of Roman mythology.
I think Pegasus is Greek.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm understanding. I'm like, I don't know. Seems like a hey, we had this idea, we wanted to write something. We both want to delve deep into the mythos, but create our own story, which is great. But it doesn't always work, I think it
something
would
that
be
I've
good if you
noticed.
put the two guys on the same screen.
Something that I've noticed recently is a very recent trend is a lot of blending of mythos and mythology from different areas. And that may just be a new pop trend that's starting. But recently I have noticed a lot of things where they're maybe mixing different supernatural and biblical or other cultural things together. Or maybe people just don't care anymore. I don't know.
Some people.
Well, I mean, the religious thing, I also think that certain people are going to be interested and certain aren't. So is that something that would be problematic for your store, Paul, knowing that this might be something, maybe hot topic for some people? You know, it's definitely not for everybody. Would you not carry something because of the religious undertone?
I have carried some things that have religious undertones, but to a certain point. If I'm going to carry something like that, it's going to have to fit into basically a certain clientele genre of what we carry. If we have, for example, if it's going to be something we put with some of our older readers section, I certainly wouldn't have this anywhere near some of the younger readers. Not necessarily for religious reasons or anything like that, but just the fact that this doesn't seem like something that'd be for a younger clientele anyway.
And we are down to our last video, guys. That's it. This is going to be our last one for today. This is Super Cats. It's a kid's book. It's for Halloween. And let's see if we can be entertained back to our childhood.
Super Cats. Halloween's always a win for me.
I'm the writer and creator of Super Cats Halloween. This is a really fun children's picture book and comic book with artwork by Angela Odling of the fantastic webtoon series Detached. This is a story about relying on your friends when things are rough and never being afraid to ask for help in times of need. I think this is a message that's really timely with everything that's going on right now, and I'm excited to bring it to you in the form of this kid's book / comic. Super Cats books are made for kids just learning to read. I would say the age range is about 0 to 7 years old, pre-K to K. They're a fun, unique way to introduce kids to reading through comics. It's been proven that reading comic books is a great way.
Now, one thing I don't understand right away is he says it's for kids 0 to 7, but then says pre-K to K. Isn't 7 second grade? Because my son is 5 now and he's going into kindergarten. 7 would be grade 2, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
think you're correct.
Yeah, that threw me a little bit. I create kids' books, so I know how hard it is. So, what did you guys think of this? Did you find interest in it? Like, what do you guys think?
Oh, I found interest, definitely.
I had interest.
Good children's books out there, really, with an emphasis on good ones. I'm seeing some that aren't great, especially ones from like Marvel and DC. But indie ones, I'm always welcoming on anything that has positive stories, positive, enforcement, teaching kids that how to act, how to treat people, social knowledge, so to speak. And it seems like he has that going.
Hey, Paul, what if I could tell you a story with a farting elephant that teaches morals?
Do it.
I already did. I'll actually give you the book, the PDF. I think you'll like it since you like that.
Okay.
I'll let you read it. But
Fairly Odd Parents has got kind of a similar feel to it a little bit.
Oh, he loves it. My artist loves Fairly Godparents. He was like, "Can I use that?" And I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I had no idea what it was. And he's like, "Oh, look, here it is." He wanted to do that or Captain, what is it? Captain Pants, Underpants. He didn't like the Captain Underpants art. I was like, no, go with the other one. I'm good with the other.
Yeah, go with the bold lines. It works better.
Yes, please. He did a great job.
I like it. I feel like this is almost like he had gotten an interview from someone, and he almost like clipped in those the responses he had after the end of a long day at work. And that's not disparaging on the under eyes. I have under eye circles from working overnights and multiple nights. I've been there more than enough. I like the artwork. I wish I could see more of the artwork. There's a fine line. I know this is like a 3-minute video, so I know he's probably rocking in more clips here and there as far as that's concerned. I like that there's the physical copies of the book again. That's great. I do wish that there was a little bit of connection in that capacity. Like, yeah, we have these great photos. Maybe have one in his hands and do, if this is for kids, play a little bit to the classic, well, here, check it out, guys. And then you can pop to the digital version of the artwork on there. Like, these are great, seeing kids interacting with it. It's definitely a huge focus in that. Great. I think that's awesome. But, sometimes it's just a different product. You got to sell a little differently. Paul, do you think that the size would be an issue for this one? Because it looks like a 10 by 10 or an 11 by 11.
Kids books. Not for where we display our kids' books, but for a lot of places, yeah. A lot of similar stores that I know of where they end up displaying some of their kids' books, the formatting is not going to work well for them. And it might even end up taking the space of 2 whole books instead of 1.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's the end of the show. We actually made it to the end of it. I don't see him showing any other art. I do want to mention, I'm almost 100% sure that the Super Cats he's showing behind you isn't the Halloween version. This is actually a follow-up book. So the book you've been seeing in here isn't the book that this one is.
No, I understand that. That's why I was one of those.
Yeah. This is just, I just wanted to be clear that when people are seeing it in the video today, I believe.
Like, hey, he's showing physical copies of the previous issue.
Yeah. Which is nothing wrong with that, which means you can get 2 books. How cool is that? There's actually 2 books instead of 1. All right, guys. Tell them where you are. And Paul, I want you to when you're giving your goodbyes and how to follow you, tell people how to support comic book shops right now. But we're going to start with Josh. Josh, tell them where they can find you.
Well, guys, you can find me at Art of Josh Lyman on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I do want to say thank you guys for having me. Please understand that this entire stream is designed to be critical. It is not designed to be only negative or only positive as far as that's concerned. It's base criticism on what we see and what's bringing us in and what makes us actually want to pause the video and not continue on and go to the next page. And sometimes it comes down to the draw. So, yeah.
And Paul.
Hey, let's see here. Geekadrum Games and Comics, where we're at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The physical store is, of course, closed for everything with COVID-19. But we have set up a temporary online store that's going to be going more full-time online store for the meantime, where you can find more information on that on our social media. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for being part of today's show. You can hear my son in the background. Like many of us, he's kind of tired of being pent up inside the house. So distract your kids, distract yourself with any one of these amazing titles. And remember, when you see a creator on here that you like, don't be afraid to actually see if they have any other books that are available now. Ask them for the PDFs of previous books. Some creators are giving out free PDFs just to keep you entertained. And remember, $1 can make dreams come true. It shows support, attracts attention, funds projects, supports creators, and creates new worlds. And if you're creating a new world, get Kickstarter for the Independent Creator from Madeline, Holly, Rosing, and Christy Shin. And it's a great book available on Amazon today. Normally, we would tell you what's on Diamond right now in previews. What's the point?
We can't not do that.
We've just pulled
Diamond is still having us put in orders, even though we don't know what the future holds.
For what? Like, do you want me to order like 10,000 books to deliver to me the first day the thing's open?
Yeah, they want you to continue doing weekly orders. It's kind of ridiculous.
And do they want you to pay weekly? Is that what it is? They want you to keep sending them money every week?
No, that's not happening until they actually get us the books.
Okay.
Yeah, they still want us to be putting in orders. I don't know if they're trying to like get us committed to that or what. I don't know.
Well, we're going to have to all wait and see, and remember to support each other. Be kind to each other. Like Josh said, this wasn't about tearing anyone down. This was just about giving honest feedback. And as creators, you need to hear that. And these are actually creators who see things that other people might not be seeing, but know it's there. They just don't know how to identify it out loud. So we're giving you some insight. Some of you will make changes. Some of you will think we don't know what we're talking about. But either way, I hope you were entertained by watching the show today. Thank you all. Stay safe. And we'll see you next week on a special 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go a little later to have a West Coast guest of Madeline Holly Rosing. She's going to be with us next week. We hope you are too. We'll see you next week. Everyone, thank you. You are amazing. And thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
And good.